And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome back Iris Yamashito, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book out tomorrow. That is Village in the Dark. Iris, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Give us the scoop on this book.
Thank you, Sarah. It's so great to be back here. And I always love your energy. You really make me excited too.
Yay! Well, I'm excited to chat with you about this fabulous book. I love police procedurals.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Village in the Dark is my second book, and it's the second in the Cara Kennedy series. So the first book was called City Under One Roof. And we met our protagonist, Cara Kennedy, who is an investigator in Anchorage, Alaska. And in the first book, we found out that her husband and her son had gotten lost in a hiking accident, and she is kind of consumed by their deaths. And she goes to this very isolated city called Point Meteor, it's a fake city, but it's inspired by a real city called Whittier, Alaska. And the strange thing about that city is that everyone lives in a single high-rise building. And the only way in or out is through this 2.5-mile tunnel through this mountain. And of course, in the first book, she goes there and there's an avalanche, which closes the tunnel. So she gets trapped there and she solves a case there. And in the second book, she's just gotten information that the murder that she investigated in the first book, she thought had no connection to what happened to her husband and son. But in the beginning of the second book, Village in the Dark, she gets some information that maybe there is a connection, but what is it, and what happened? And so she has the bodies of her husband and son exhumed at the top of the book, and the book is about the investigation of their deaths.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that exhuming.
Yeah.
The idea of having to have your loved ones, your husband and your child exhumed after you have gone through the grief of burying them. Iris, I can't even imagine. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. We have so much to talk about. I can't wait to get into every delicious detail. But first, I just want to welcome everyone. We are going live to 6 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday. And because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, friends. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Iris about that time she was nominated for an Academy Award. Yes, an actual Oscar for her incredible screenplay Letters from Iwo Jima, starring none other than the incredible Clint Eastwood.
He directed it. He wasn't in it, but he directed it.
Directed by Clint Eastwood. Her glamorous Hollywood life, her first book, Under One Roof, which we had her on for last year. Now she's back with Village in the Dark. Her writing, anything you want to ask, get it going in the comments. Robin, welcome, joining us from Facebook. So good to have you. Welcome to Jane and Gracie it as well. So good to see you guys. Welcome, Alan. Welcome, Charlotte. Welcome, Marcy. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Robin says isolation, grief, and murder too. Yes, exactly. So let's start off with the setting, Iris. Why Alaska?
Well, I think Alaska is sort of like the last frontier, and it's mysterious already with all its wilderness and the isolation, and that kind of setting is perfect for a mystery. And in the case of Cara, her husband and son get lost in the woods, and in Alaska, that happens. Like there's something like over 2,000 people who go missing every year in Alaska. So it's a great, yeah, there's so much about Alaska that's interesting that, it's perfect. It's perfect for a murder mystery.
Well, us mystery loving folks reporting for duty. So I have been completely absorbed into watching True Detective season 4, starring Jodie Foster, which of course takes place in Alaska, which is someplace I've always wanted to go to see the polar bears, which I'm extremely obsessed with, as well as the other wildlife and the salmon. So I've never been to Alaska, and it is on my bucket list to go there. And so I was extra excited to welcome you back, Iris, because my favorite kinds of books are also police procedurals. So we have a lot to chat about. Now, Iris, you tell this, as you said, through Kara Hunter, who we met in book 1, but there's also 2 other POVs. So we have a mysterious character, Maya Upasha, who we don't know how she's involved at first, and then Ellie. So tell us about writing these 3 characters, and tell us about writing multiple character POVs in general.
Yeah, I wrote in 3 female voices in the first book, and it kind of stuck with me. I mean, when it came to the audio recording of it, they had 3 wonderful actresses, and it just worked so well that I wanted to do that again. But, as a screenwriter, I always think about, choosing voices that are distinct from each other. So in the first book, we had, the protagonist, Cara Kennedy, and then we had, someone who had a mental disability, so she talks in a very specific way in her language. And the third was like a teenager, so she also had a different way of speaking. So in the second book, in Village in the Dark, I again wanted to choose very diverse voices. So again, we have the protagonist, Cara Kennedy, and then Ellie Wright is the surly innkeeper, who has a southern drawl, and she has this interesting past. She was the Bonnie of a Bonnie and Clyde bank robbing team. And I just felt like from the first book that she had more of a story to tell. So I wanted to expand on her story, and then how, she gets involved also in this mystery. And then I also wanted to include a younger character. So Mia Upash is that character, and she's from the title Village in the Dark. She's from the village that's off the grid, and it's run by women, and she doesn't know about man's world, is what I call it, the world outside of her isolated village, and she wants to go out and discover what it's about. And again, we don't know how she's connected to the rest of the mystery until much later.
I think I was pronouncing her name Maya, and of course it's Mia. I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
Mia, not Maya. That was my mistake. So we have Mia Upash, and then of course we have Cara Kennedy, our detective. So Iris, let's talk about. It's interesting to me that voices are you think in voices, because I think in. I'm super visual. So when I'm writing, I'm visualizing everybody, and you're audio visualizing everybody. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think of the voices more for the books than I do the visuals. I don't know why. I think it's because when I was screenwriting, I was kind of trained not to think so much about what they look like, because you're not in casting. So, and then I always tell people, like, I'm okay with open, diverse casting. So I don't even know, like, if they're African American or they're Asian, or I don't really focus on that. So then I kind of lose, like, what do they look like? But I just think of their internal voices, like what kind of character are they on the inside?
Interesting. Okay. Um, right. Okay. So you think of what kind of character they are in the inside, but you want to make sure that their voices are different. Yeah, because it's interesting. So I wrote 4 points of view in my book, and I had read one of the best pieces of advice that I had read about writing multiple POVs is you should be able to cover the name of who it is and still know who it is by how they speak, what they say, and what their
Exactly.
worldview is. And I tried really hard to do that, and I feel like you do as well through Cara, Maya, Mia, Cara,
Yeah.
Mia. And Ellie, now I will always, once I make the mistake, it will stick with me through Cara, Ellie, and Mia. So I feel like you do that as well, and that's really important to you in terms of conveying um, conveying these characters.
Yeah, I think the same way that you just mentioned that if you a well-written character is one where if you can pull their line of dialogue and you know who's speaking, then that's good. So yeah, that's good advice.
So, everybody, I just want to tell you the book drops tomorrow. It is not even out yet right now. Iris is coming on tonight to give us the exclusive inside scoop on Village in the Dark. So the book is available for pre-order, and you can order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book right here. So whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, click and order so that you can immerse yourself in the perspectives of Cara Kennedy,
Mia.
Mia Upash, and Ellie. And then you can tell us what you think of this, this Alaskan story and these three very different voices, these three wonderful women. I want to talk to you about your process, Iris. So do you write every single day? Are you like, I'm not getting up until I have 1,000 words or 10 pages or 5 pages or whatever? Or do you have, do you just write when the spirit moves you? I have a feeling you might be a plotter, but are you a pantser? Tell us all the things.
I like to do a little bit of both. So I like to plot by having sort of the basic outline of what's going to happen in the book from beginning to end. And I do a little short chapter, like not lengthy, just like maybe a paragraph or two about what's going to happen in each paragraph. And then when I start writing, I kind of just let it go free. So I'm not editing myself in the first pass. In the first pass, I call it the vomit draft. And I do that in screenwriting too. And so you just let yourself unchecked write whatever you're thinking. And of course, it's going to sound like garbage. But it is sort of a freeing process. And that's where you're learning a little bit more about your characters. A lot of times your characters take you in a different direction. And then I'll go back and I'll see, my outline now has completely changed. But having that outline, that basic outline is great because it helps with when you get writer's block, because sometimes if you start writing and you don't know where you're going, then you're just going to stop and you're going to be in writer's block hell. So having some goalposts, if you get stuck, you can skip and you can just say, oh, let me jump over to a scene that I think, that I have more ideas for. And so you can do that. And then, of course, at the end of your vomit draft, it's just garbage. So then you go back and you do like many more passes before it's readable by anybody.
Iris, when you say many more, I how many more? I need to know.
At least two.
Okay.
When I have a deadline. So you were asking before. So I'm not disciplined usually unless I have a deadline. But if I have a deadline, then I know how many passes I can do before the due date, right? So I kind of work backwards and I think, okay, I have this much more time, so I have to write this. I usually go by like maybe chapters or pages, but usually chapters. Like if I have to do this many chapters and this much time, and I can do at least 3 edits. So I leave enough time for at least 3 edits.
Okay.
And before the due date. And then of course, after the due date, you're always going to be editing because you're like, wait, let me fix this part. And then of course you get your notes from your editor or somebody, or I have like test readers too, and they'll give you notes. So it feels like you're constantly, until they say you can't change it anymore, you're constantly changing something, editing something. But yeah, definitely three big drafts where you're going through all the chapters.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I feel better as a compulsive editor myself. Chris joining us from YouTube saying, I love Alaska. I've been there 2 times and will be there again this March. I'm so sad that they canceled Alaska Daily. Oh my God, I loved that show as well, Hilary Swank. But so happy to see True Detective set there. Yes, exactly. There's something so fabulous about Alaska as a setting. Iris, are you watching True Detective?
No, I know I have to, and, I will when I get time. But I mean, I'm sure, people think the same way I do, that Alaska is just such an interesting setting, and it's, so vast and easy for murders and things to happen. So
Oh my gosh, so funny. Robin says the sheer vastness, again, that word you just used, Iris, great minds thinking alike. The sheer vastness of Alaska is beyond description. I only flew into Anchorage once in May 1976 on my way to Okinawa. Huge. And the tarmac was shiny black with ice. I was young and naive on a great adventure. 48 years later, I can still see it clearly in my mind. Oh, that sounds so beautiful, Robin. Thank you for sharing that memory with us.
yeah, yeah, yes, that's right. Alaska is really beautiful. Um, I went to visit the actual city that I was inspired by, Whittier, and in the summer, it's just gorgeous. The view there is amazing, but yeah, I wouldn't wanna be there in the winter.
Yeah, so I'm watching True Detective right now, and they're on day 10, I think, of night when they're just in December and early January, where there just is no light. And I was like, it must be so disorienting to wake up and it's still dark out, and then go to work and it's still dark out, and then you come home and it's still dark. It's just that endless darkness would make me crazy and also depressed. I don't know. It would be very interesting. Iris, I want to talk about some of this amazing praise that your book has earned. So let's kick off with Publishers Weekly. I'm going to pop it up so we can all look at it together. They say riveting, a chilling murder mystery with memorable characters and a stunning conclusion. Readers will be glued to the page. Congratulations on that rave review. And they are not the only ones raving. Library Journal awarding you a starred review. Congratulations on that. Let's take a peek at those words. They call the book a compelling story, saying it is perfect for readers of crime novels set in isolated areas, or those that feature strong independent characters. Again, congratulations on those stars. And also Kirkus deeming this a sharp and gritty mystery. So let me pull that up too. So they said that you bring a hard Scrabble community to life, reaching beyond its core whodunit. Your story probes the lives of people struggling to survive. Congratulations on that. I think this one, when I read that bit of praise, I was like, I really loved that. Because that that hard Scrabble, scrappiness of characters, and that deep willingness to survive no matter what comes our way is something that resonated with me both in your first book and in this book. What fascinates you about that?
Thanks so much for bringing that up. Yeah, I just thought that when I was developing my characters, that it takes a really hardy kind of person to live in the settings that I have. The one the one setting of Point Meteor, the one that's modeled after Whittier. They are so isolated, and the weather conditions are so harsh, that I felt like it takes a really tough exterior, people who are strong, and all my women are strong characters, and they're really tough on the outside. But I also, and this is not reflective of the real city, but in my fictional story, the characters are all kind of broken on the inside. And so I follow that through in the second book as well. And I introduce that new city where they're, well, not city, it's a village where they're living off the grid, and they just have to provide for themselves, and there's a community, and they have to, they rely on each other for survival. So again, these are really tough women on the outside, but again, like on the inside, they have their own their issues that they carry with them.
Yeah, it's interesting because earlier at the end of this year, I was reading about an Indigenous woman who went missing, and I learned that Canada, much like the U.S., has a very large, has a really big problem with the rate of Indigenous women, especially they go missing. And in fact, they have this one area where they call Murder Row. Or sorry, and so many women have gone missing there, and it's really distressing, and concerning.
Yeah, that's exactly when I was doing research on the first book. That was something that I came across about the Indigenous community, and that's kind of why I wanted to introduce more Indigenous characters
Yes.
in the second book. And Mia Upash, the one of the voices, she's actually I decided to include a part Ainu character, and Ainu is Japanese indigenous. And it's partly because this village that she lives in, I wanted to show that it's not just one indigenous culture, but it was open to several different, even non-indigenous people who needed to be there. And so I was kind of fascinated because the Ainu Japanese Ainu, some of their belief systems and some of their culture is similar to Pacific Northwest indigenous, and I just
Mm.
thought that was interesting. So I just wanted to put that in there. But another thing was that I was lucky to consult with someone from the Alaska Native Resource, AKNR, Alaska Native Women's Resource Center. And so I was able to get some information from someone over there with, um, how what they do to help women, Native women who are, suffering from domestic violence.
Yes, thank you for addressing that. Chris, joining us from YouTube, says we need an adventure set in mild temperatures. Everyone knows about gorgeous wintry days, but I would be interested in seeing a crime story set in warmer weather. So many possibilities. Yeah, Iris, we're going to need you to go to somewhere sunny and fabulous. Go on location, research it there. That's your next assignment.
I know Naomi Hirahara, a lot of people know her. I think she wrote some things set in Hawaii. It's a mystery. I think it's a mystery.
And
Set in
actually,
Hawaii.
my last guest, Lynn Lau Butler, also said her last book in Hawaii. So anytime we need a warm weather escape, there's some options as well. Margaret joining us from the Pacific Northwest, of which we speak, saying, yes, yeah, there's plenty of tough on the outside characters in fiction, but tough on the inside is what we need as role models, methinks. Great point, Margaret. You're so right. Like that does provide a roadmap and encouragement that we can survive, and then that survival and thriving is possible and doable. Thank you for that comment. Iris, I want to chat about this other praise as well. Book list praises your ability for ingenious plotting, which we now know you are a plotter. So they picked up on that. Um, Filled with corpses, shootouts, and plenty of clever misleads. So let's go back to the plotting for a second. So in book one, when we first meet Cara Kennedy, were you already thinking, I'm going to exhume her husband and her son in book two, or did that come to you? Like how far out are you plotting?
Yeah, I did already have an idea for the second book, and because I did have a two-book deal. So it was already in my mind as to, that I already knew that her story was going to continue. But not a lot of the details of the second book were, of course, figured out right away. And even while I was writing, sometimes I didn't know what was going to happen in the very end. And
Well, good to know. Good to know. Margaret saying, "Wow, series plotters are so next level." I know that is some down the road thinking. Allison, welcome to the conversation, saying, "Okay, from that book list quote, I am hooked. I can't wait to read." Again, that is speaking to
Yay.
your ability for your ingenious plotting filled with corpses, shootouts, and plenty of clever misleads. And y'all, you're in luck. We are in luck because Iris is coming on to answer all our most pressing questions and give us the inside scoop on this book, which drops tomorrow. And we can pre-order tonight from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. So whether you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, here is that link again to pre-order Village in the Dark. Oh, Chris is saying, to clarify, I meant a mild weathered story set in Alaska during the fair weather season. Okay, she's not sending you anywhere tropical. Unpack your bags, Iris. You don't get to go to Aruba. You have to go back to Alaska, but you get to go in the summer. Margaret wants to know, what's the best type of book to read for Valentine's Day? I say bloody and murderous. What about you, Iris?
Yeah. You know, what's funny? Somebody described my book as a Hallmark romance with guns.
Who said that?
Really? I never would have thought that, but someone mentioned that, and I was sort of going, "Huh, I never thought of that way." There is romance. There's romance in Village in the Dark, if you like romance. And it was something I really had to work on because I think in my first the draft that I turned in first to my editor, the romance was not there, and or it was, not good enough, or it wasn't. It needed to be expanded upon, and so my wonderful editor had these great notes, and I really worked on upping the romance. So it's
Ooh, that's interesting. So they sent it back with more romance, please.
yes.
Were you surprised to get that for a thriller, for a mystery, for a police procedural?
Yes, I was well, I mean, I could see that I had planted seeds that I probably needed to, you know, follow through on, more than I had. So,
Okay, okay.
yeah, and I'm glad it worked because when I got that comment, I was just blown away. I was like, "Really?"
That is unexpected. Oh my gosh, that is really funny. Okay, so Margaret's saying Hallmark romance with guns.
Yes.
LOL. Yes. That is a very that is not what I was expecting either, Margaret. That's really funny. Allison says, "How can we follow you on social media? So excited to support you and read your book." Well, Allison, I'm so glad you asked. So here is Iris's link on Instagram. I'm going to pop it up so we can all see that. Here she is, Instagram.com/Iris Yamashita. She's very mysterious, very hard to find. Iris, do you have a favorite social media platform?
Well, you can go to my website, which is my name, irisyamashita.com, and I have links to Instagram and Facebook and Goodreads, but I'm not, I'm not contributing much to Goodreads, but you know, Instagram and Facebook. Yep.
Instagram and Facebook are your favorites? Okay. So there is Iris's link to Facebook, so you can click right over to follow her, and please do. And thank you so much for your
And one
very
more,
lovely.
sorry, one more link that I'd like to add is on my website. If you sign up for my newsletter, I do reveal I have a lot of Easter eggs in the book, and so after City Under One Roof came out, I gave a lot of I told in my newsletter what all my Alice in Wonderland references were, like which
Ooh.
character was what, and who the Cheshire Cat was in the first book. And the second book, I follow, or I have a lot of references to Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is the second, follow up to Alice in Wonderland. And I will reveal a lot of the Easter eggs in the second book in the newsletter.
Who else loves Easter eggs? me. Who else loves Easter eggs? Follow Iris. So here is her link to her website. And at the top, you will see her Goodreads, Facebook, and Instagram links. And at the bottom, scroll down, you'll see her newsletter. So click on over there and give her a follow, give her a subscribe. And Allison, thank you for that lovely comment that we want to support and follow Iris. Yay! I want to get to this other bit of praise as well from First Clue. It says these are fascinating characters and circumstances, and the story that brings them together and sees them struggling against inner demons and very real danger is gripping. Congratulations on that rave review, Iris, as well. Y'all, we are out of time. Time flies when you're having this much fun. So here again is the link to pre-order Iris's book, which drops tomorrow. She's coming on tonight to give us the exclusive sneak peek and take all of our questions. So order Village in the Dark, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will send you that book tomorrow morning as soon as it comes out. So here again is that link to pre-order. Iris Yamashito, thank you so much for coming on and giving us the scoop on Cara Kennedy Book 2. It has been so fabulous to spend time with you and chat all about your writing process and about your fabulous characters in this very atmospheric Alaskan location. Robin, thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you. Thank you all for spending your Mystery Monday with us. I will be back next week with Amanda Giatisa and a mystery guest. So stay tuned until then. May the days fly by and the pages fly as well. Grace, thank you for joining us.
Oh, so thanks, Grace. That's my cousin.
Yay. All right, Iris, that is a wrap. And you have to promise to come back for book number 3.